And welcome back to America Talks Live. You're looking live at a Donald Trump rally in West Palm Beach, Florida, where former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani and Trump surrogate is speaking. We are now going to listen in.
And he wants to kill Americans. So we need to change all these things and a lot more. And we would easily do it, but for one thing, and that is the unbelievable, unrelenting, and awful way in which the press treats our candidate. And we always, you know that. They don't accept it, they don't believe it, they come up with every excuse for it. We've always known it, haven't we? We've always known it. It gets worse every year. They did this to Romney, they did it to McCain, they did it to Ronald Reagan. They don't like Republicans, they don't like conservatives, they don't like what we stand for, and they want to undercut our values. We always have known that, haven't we? But now we have proof of it. I don't know how those WikiLeaks came out. I'm not sure. I like the way it happened. I don't like the way a lot of stuff that happened.
And there you just heard from former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. They're talking live at a rally in West Palm Beach, Florida, mentioning those WikiLeaks that were just released that basically allege that the Clinton campaign was targeting conservatives. This is something that a lot of Republicans have said for quite some time, saying some disparaging remarks about Catholics specifically. We're going to talk more about that. We're also going to go back to that rally momentarily, but we want to talk more about Donald Trump. He continues to rail against the Clintons following the release of his leaked audio tape, but with new allegations now from the New York Times, the Clintons may have all the ammo that they need to go after the Donald. He's threatening to sue after the New York Times reports that two women say Trump groped them. Jessica Leeds claims Trump groped her on an airplane back in the 1980s, while Rachel Crook says Trump tried to kiss her outside of an elevator in his tower back in 2005. And for more on these topics, we want to welcome in today's guest. Joining us now is Chad Wilkinson, the Vice President of Capitol HQ, and Christian Hanley, Democratic strategist and speechwriter at Catamount Strategies. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on America Talks Live.
Thank you, Miranda.
First, Chad, let's get your reaction to this story, if we can. All these new allegations coming forward. Go ahead.
I think it's calculated. I think that this is part of a longer game plan by the Clintons to release and continue to leak out information, negative info on Trump. I don't believe the story. I think the New York Times jumped on it a little too soon. I don't think it's properly vetted. Having said that, it kind of follows this game plan that we've seen for the past couple of weeks. Prior to the videotape being released Thursday or last Thursday, Monday in battleground states, the DNC put out gigantic flyers calling on Trump's statements about women and playing the narrative that women shouldn't vote for Trump because he hates women. Then that Thursday, the videotape comes out. Thursday night, the Clinton campaign ends up responding via social media, and then Tuesday, lo and behold, another mailer went out by the Clinton campaign calling Trump's comments irreprehensible. And so we're looking at something that the mainstream media has jumped on, and they continue to play the narrative. And honestly, it's been very effective.
Yeah, I would say so by all the poll numbers and what they're saying, showing that Trump has definitely taken a hit from all of this. He is lagging in virtually every poll. We now want to go to Christian. So you heard what Chad had to say. I want to get your reaction now to these latest allegations and this audio tape that came about last week. It seems a little fishy, I would say, with the timing of all of this. But as we mentioned, that Donald Trump is planning on filing a lawsuit against the New York Times. Do you think he has a chance?
No, I don't, because, as any attorney will tell you, that having any kind of truth on your side as a defendant in a defamation case is a proper defense to any allegation of defamation. So I don't see that lawsuit going anywhere. And in fact, the lawsuit you bring up right there sort of answers my question for me regarding the fishiness, as you put it, of these allegations and the timing of them. The reason why women here would come forth when they did after these tapes, after this tape in particular came out, is because of Donald Trump's history of being litigious. He's very litigious. He threatens lawsuits. He's been involved in an unprecedented number of lawsuits himself. And so victims of his behaviors are, of course, going to be hesitant to come forth because they do fear frivolous lawsuits from Donald Trump, lawsuits that he can afford, but which they can't afford to defend. So it does stand to reason that they would come out with these allegations after the tape came out.
Christian, though, I have to... You know what, Chad, I'm going to get your reaction on this, though. Right now, right in October, right before the election, they couldn't have said this 3 years ago. Why now? Go ahead, Chad.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fishy. This could have happened during the primaries. This could have came out 2 years ago. Trump has a target on his back because he is a billionaire. He is worth a ton of money. If these allegations were going to come out, they should have came out years ago. Trump, chances are, if they resembled any type of the truth, which I don't think they do, I think Trump would have settled. He would have been done with it. This is clearly calculated. I don't necessarily think they're true at all. It just seems opportunistic, and the New York Times is going to jump on the story no matter what. They couldn't resist it. Anybody has anything negative to say about Donald Trump right now? MSNBC is going to be all over it. The New York Times is going to be all over it. In CNN as well. So no, this is definitely opportunistic, and I personally think it was a calculated move by the Clinton campaign.
Well, let's see what Joe from New Jersey thinks. He joins us live via telephone here at America Talks Live. Joe, thanks so much for joining us. What's your question or comment?
Thanks for having me on the show. I just deplored about the comments that people will do to win an election and have no facts behind it or truth. Hillary is very opportunistic, selfish. I was stationed in Arkansas way back when she was the first lady, and that was the second poorest state in the country. And yet, what did she do with programs in Arkansas for the poor then? As she's astounding to do now for the poor. Trump is right. Everything the Democrats are doing is really deplorable.
I want to get a Christian's reaction to that.
Yeah, I have to apologize. I couldn't hear the caller that well. It was a bit fuzzy on my end. Could you kind of give me sort of the gist of what
Joe was saying that he was stationed in Arkansas, and he said, basically that Hillary Clinton didn't do anything for that state, and he's saying that everything that the Democrats try to do is basically deplorable, using that word again. I want to get your reaction to that, Christian.
Well, my reaction to that is what Donald Trump himself has said, unedited on just plain videotape, is deplorable. There's literally no evidence to show that the Clinton campaign coordinated these bad news stories for Donald Trump, this bad press. He said those words on videotape, and after doing so, accusers, women, victims came forward whose own personal stories fit into the behavior he described himself on tape. So at this point, there's no democratic action. There's no action on the part of the Clinton campaign other than to let Trump dig his own hole and continue to behave in this manner.
We're not going to go to the caller. Sorry, I apologize for that. My producer was talking to me. I thought we were going to go right ahead. By all means, Chad, would love to hear from you.
Yeah, yes, what he did say was absolutely wrong. And I was shocked and I was angry when I heard it. But here's the one thing you need to remember. They had those tapes. This is not something that just popped up a week ago.
Right.
They knew what they were doing with these tapes, and they knew when they were going to release them, and they also knew that they were going to build up an entire ground game that they were going to send out to the battleground states regarding these tapes. Regarding those tapes. Now, having said that, the Clinton campaign released this information when they did because they knew the WikiLeaks information was going to come out. There could not have been a better response to WikiLeaks, or a way to get in front of it, than putting out this information in October when they knew full well this other information was going to come out. This has been a major distraction, you know, and I feel bad for the American people because we're
It
concentrating
doesn't get
on
to
some
the
things that Donald
issues,
Trump's-
right? That people
exactly.
really
And
care
as a matter
about.
of fact,
Gentlemen, I'm sorry, but we're
And
going to
she's
have
not
to leave
talking
it
about the
there.
issues.
Chad Wilkinson, Christian Hanley, thank you both for joining us here on America Talks Live. Pleasure to have you, gentlemen.
thank you, Miranda. Thank you.
We now want to go back to that rally in West Palm Beach where former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani and Trump surrogate is speaking at a Trump rally.
Like one big international government. Does she tell you that? Of course not. In other words, what she does is she lies to you, or she lies to the people in private for the 225,000. If she was lying to them in private for the 225,000.